So no classes have gotten a head start on this from year 10, like I was trying to give people a head start last year. This is new year 11 information. This is the idea of term deposits. This is a real thing. So bankers say, last week we did savings accounts. What do you notice? The third option is term deposit. Okay. This is something mainly old people will do. Okay. When you hear about how they work, a term deposit is more for established people, not you guys. Okay. Because a term deposit, when we get to the notes, unlike savings account, you cannot freely deposit and withdraw and earn interest on the contents. That's what a savings account is. It's sitting there, you're depositing money into it, you withdraw to buy KFC or some crap like that. But any money that's in there, you get paid interest. With a term deposit, you must invest a certain principal for a fixed term and you completely leave it alone. So suggest to me, why would it only be old people doing that?
They're retired.
They're retired. They're not really spending all that money. They're sitting on giant piles of money that they can just let sit there and grow without them working. You are using the money in your savings account. So you can't really do term deposits unless you're friggin' rich from being a content creator or something, okay? So term deposits have very specific conditions and rates that depend on the amount of money invested and the length of time. You're going to be using these tables. They're in your textbook, okay? They're on page 73 of the little booklet that I've given you. You do not need to copy or put them on your cheat sheet. The term deposit question will give you this. You don't need to copy it now because when you're doing the exercises, these are on page 73. So don't copy them. I just need them here because I'm demonstrating a question for you. So I need these on the screen, okay? So the notes that you would need to start off with to perform term deposit calculations, number one, you need to look at the conditions of the term deposit and read how the interest is calculated. There's two options here. If it says the interest is credited monthly and reinvested, then you're dealing with compound interest. So if you look at that left one, if you look at the conditions here, can you see that second dot point? It said interest is credited monthly and is reinvested. So if I'm dealing with that bank, I'm doing compound interest. So I'd use TVM solver. B, if the conditions say is paid monthly directly to the investor, then you're using simple interest. SI is equal to PRT. So that's the bank on the right. You can see the conditions there. The second dot point, interest is paid monthly directly to the investor. So you'd be using SI is equal to PRT. Step 2, once you know what type of interest you're using, use the table to work out the interest rate. And 3, calculate the interest earned using the correct formula. So I'll give you time. Can you get that box, please? And then I'll demonstrate how that works. Today there's only 3 questions on the timeline and then time to finish your finals. I'm up to 5 now. Just a heads up, on Thursday I have to play the piano for the year 12s. They've got an exam or something, so you'll have a relief. Just follow the relief instructions. So I'll scroll it up so everyone can see the steps, but also the example if you need. Let's run through that example. I'm a rich old man. I got 30 grand to invest, and I'm willing to put it away for 6 months and not touch it in a term deposit. 30 grand is important. 6 months is important. Using the balance bank and cash credit union term deposits on page 73. So in your course here at APHS, we're using the Hazy books. We're using those two banks there. So balance bank. Balance bank is the left one. If I look at the conditions, it is reinvested. So as soon as I see reinvested, we're using compound interest. And earlier I told you, as soon as you see compound interest, we use the app called TVM Solver. Okay? So 30 grand. Which of the columns is 30 grand going to sit in? It's going to sit in the left one, 500 to 9999. And it's in the middle one. So we're looking here. Now I need to look down. How long was it for?
6 months.
See how the rate changes? So you use the grid to work out. They're going to give you a higher rate if you're leaving your money alone in the bank for a long time. So the rate that I'm using for my compound interest is 2.4%. Okay? So now what would your working out look like? It's a TVM solver question. So N, I, 2.4, PV is the initial amount. So I put 30,000 in. So what sign would that be? Is it going to be positive 30,000 or negative 30,000? Negative, because it went in the bank. It's not in my pocket right now. 30,000. At year 11, we ignore payments. FV is what I'm going to solve for. I want to see what it grows up to. PY is going to be monthly. CY is also going to be monthly. So TVM, someone remind me how to access TVM Solver on the graphics calculator. Apps, finance, enter. N will be, if it's happening 12 times a year, monthly, and I'm only putting it away for 6 months, what's N going to be? 6. It's going to happen 6 times. 6, 2.4, negative 30,000. No payments, 12 and 12. Alpha, enter. That tells me it's going to grow to $30,361.80 to 2 decimal points. So therefore, $361.80 interest with balance bank. Cash credit union. So I'm going to scroll up, but I'll come back down, so don't get butthurt about that. I'll scroll up. Cash credit union, 30,000. Which column are we going to look at in cash credit union? The middle one again. 6 months, 2.45. So it's slightly higher. What are the conditions? Paid directly to the investor. So this is simple interest. SI is equal to PRT. So now we'll scroll back down. SI equals P. I put 30 grand in, times by 2.45 as a decimal, 0.0245. T is years. If I'm putting it away for 6 months, am I putting it in for a whole year? 0.5. So calculator. Just quickly do that. 30 grand times 0.0245 times by 0.5. $367.50. So most of the time, compound interest is better. But in this case, is going with a simple interest situation slightly better? It's like $6. Interest with CCU. So your answer for B, which bank would it be better to invest in? Cash Credit Union, as it earns around $6 more in interest. That's a term deposit question, okay? Do not copy that green table. You'll be given that green table on your page for the test. It's just in your textbook on page 73. Can you answer, please, questions 1, 3, and 4? If you finish that, there's still more DIs. There's a ton of you, 25 of you still, unless more people have submitted since I looked this morning.